Welcome to the Biz4Good Show, where we highlight misfits, outcasts, and renegades for the Be Good and Doing Good movement. We spotlight people that are changing the world by having integrity and honesty and creating an environment of connection, thus showing the true secrets of success and creating a life of greater impact. So come on board and create your own Biz4Good life.
Welcome to the Biz4Good Show. Welcome, I am your host, Bobby Glenn James, along with the Ryan Pilkington. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ryan Pilkington. Give him a hey, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited about the show today. It is going to be rockin' amazing. We're going to have a blast. We're going to have some fun. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry. We're going to shoot milk out of our nose. Oh, pee our pants. Okay, you're going to go there. Wow, you're going to immediately go to pee. Oh, wow. Okay, all right.
Secretly.
The challenge is on for our guests to
come out of the closet.
Closet peer?
You're only cool if you pee your pants on this episode. Only cool if you pee your pants.
Oh, man. Okay, Ryan, tell us about the show.
Oh, it'll be an honor since we started that. Yeah, thanks for joining us for another episode of the Biz4Good Show. We are privileged to be sitting down with Jason Hewlett. And the topic of
the Jason Hewlett, ladies and gentlemen, jasonhewlett.com.
Wow, that's nice.
Sure it's not .net?
No, I looked. It's .com. I got this one.
Okay.
Right?
Totally. Thank you. That's my new ringtone.
.com.
Not .net.
.com. Not .net.
Okay. We're gonna go off the rails so quick. I can already tell.
It's all good. It's all good. So the topic of today's show is, though, what type of promise breaker are you?
What type of promise breaker are you? See, I like to repeat everything that Ryan says because it's just fun.
Ryan rocks.
It's good.
Ryan rocks.
Ryan is awesome.
Ryan is awesome.
Anyway, he just builds my egos when he.
Ryan is a genius.
Ryan is. Wait a minute. What?
Well, you are. I tell people all the time. He is a graphical branding genius, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice.
That's right. All right, we'll move on. We'll go to the guest here. Having delivered thousands of presentations over 2 decades, Jason Hewlett is the only speaker in the world teaching leadership in performance of uncanny musical and comedy impressions, utilizing the legends of stage. The promise: become a legendary leader and discover your signature moves. Inducted in the prestigious Speaker Hall of Fame, his talks inspire leadership from the perspective of a promise while giving attendees an engaging, entertaining, and educational experience all in one.
Yeah.
I did it. I made it.
I can't believe you didn't do a sound effect.
Yeah.
Gosh, man. Tip Tom Tilly 2. Love it. Jason, thank you so much for being on the show. We have got to do a Google. I think a Google challenge is in order for Jason.
A Google challenge?
Don't you think? I mean, we have to.
Sure.
What is this? What's a Google challenge?
So we didn't talk to you about this because we like to throw stuff out just sometimes. So sometimes we have our guests pit themselves against Google. Are you up for the challenge?
Yeah, sure. Let's try it. What's up?
We gotta do that part.
Oh. You want me to do this before we do Google challenge?
It would work.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
The Biz4Good Show is a fun and powerful podcast experience, sharing stories of hope, passion, and the true secret to success, the connections we make by loving. Yes, that's right, loving and being good. There is so much bad noise in the world. It is time to rise against the noise and flood the world with the good. The Biz4Good Show is not just a podcast, it's a movement. All right. Find us on all Instagram, Instas, and Twitterites, and Facebookians, and all them beautiful, wonderful places out there. And, of course, in all your favorite podcast streaming things. Of course, you're listening to this, so you probably know your podcast streaming.
Share it with your friends.
Yeah, share it with
the
your
ones
friends.
you love.
Absolutely. Okay, it is time to get crazy.
Cool crazy. You're going to walk away and go, hashtag cool crazy.
Cool crazy. It's crazy and cool mixed together.
I like it. It's good.
What happened to our stuff, man? You did
Google challenge.
We're doing the Google challenge. Well, first we need a question. A lot of times we go with the title of the show as the question for Google. Are you up for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
You know what's funny? I don't have Google on my machine anymore.
What are you talking about?
Let's try it again.
Bing.
Bing, that's kind of weird.
Okay, we're just going to do it. Okay, what is it?
How many promises do you break?
Yeah, you could do that. Or what type of promise breaker are you?
What type of promise breaker are you?
I went to school.
Okay, so this is how this is going to work. He's gonna search. He's gonna pull that into Google, and then we're not going to go to the first page because that's where everybody goes. I mean, that's lame. We're not going to go to the second page because that's just about like the first page. But we will go to the third page and see what Google has to say about the title. And then you will either rebuff or agree with Google and have your own opinion about what it says.
Wow. Okay.
Cool.
Reminds me of that old joke about where to hide a dead body. You remember that one? Second page of Google, man.
That's
Okay.
Yeah, the third page is
page, which is like the eternal darkness. No one's ever been to this page. Okay, what does it say?
Okay, we got 47 quotes about promise breakers. Oh, that sounds pretty good.
That sounds good.
But it's for yoga.
Oh, it's for yoga? Yeah, click on it, dude. You got to click on it.
But since we've updated our equipment here, it actually went to Bing. So
that's weird.
we're gonna beat Bing.
We're gonna Bing it.
Oh, that's interesting.
I don't know why.
You should have just not said anything. Nobody would have known the difference. But, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Bing challenge today. Microsoft, if you're listening, hey, we're giving you some
Bing.
Yeah. What is this? Why is this a TED Talk video? Integrity is one of the greatest qualities to foster in life. Having the ability to keep promises and stick to what you say.
Hey.
These quotes about promise breakers capture what happens when you do not follow through and break the hearts of others.
Oh, wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Promises are only as strong as the person who gives them. Promises make debt, and debt makes promises. What does that mean?
Promise makes the debt. We'll skip that one.
Do you understand what that's saying?
Well, yeah. I mean, if you have agreed to do something,
then you have a debt.
Then you have a debt. Sure. So there's that's the definition of that, I think.
Yeah, that makes total sense. When he says it, it
Yeah.
makes complete sense. See, it's good to have a professional on the show.
Yeah.
Promises may fit the friends, but non-performance will turn them into enemies. Ooh, interesting. Promise may fit the friends.
But
these are pretty deep.
non-performance.
Okay, let's go through some more. These are really deep, but let's see if we can get some shallow things or something.
Shallow. Okay.
Oh, I have a feeling they're all going to be pretty
Some
hardcore.
people will leave you soon, no matter how. But it's not the ending of your story. It's just the ending of their role in your story. Because life goes on, and you should just expect damage from others.
Wow.
Did I just
And
read that?
then the podcast was over. Everyone that was listening is like, I'm out of here.
Yay, this is Bing.
No, thank you.
We are never doing Bing again. So we got to figure this out.
They're on Stitcher. They're looking around like there's got to be something else on here. What is?
Wow.
All right. Great quote.
Some promises are better left unsaid. I think that one actually works.
That's right. Oh man.
Okay, how are we going to do this? This is a little hard because how's he supposed to... should we pick one and just have Jason philosophize around it?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Well, what are you doing? We can't see anything. You got to scroll through this baby.
Okay.
Oh, hey there. Take a minute for well-being.
With Santa Claus. Was that Santa Claus or Socrates? Who was
I
that?
think it's Santa Claus with a turban.
Santa turban.
Santa turban.
Santa, for Christmas, can I get a turban? Well, I only have this one color. That's fine. Oh. Bing!
I'm not going
You
to
get
make
a
it.
giant Bing in your stocking. No, Santa.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, we're going to pick one of these and we're just going to let you roll with it.
All right.
Okay.
Are we trying to disprove it, or are we trying to prove what
At
was
this
the-
point,
roll with
we
it
have
at this
kind of
point.
lost the whole concept.
I'm still confused. Since we bailed on Google, went to Bing, and then Santa showed up with the turban,
Well-
I am confused.
This is in the history of the show. We've never went off the rails like this with the Google. It's always been so simple.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's because there's okay. Eggs and oats are easily broken.
We're just gonna move on.
Oh no!
Eggs
We can't.
Eggs and oats.
Yeah.
Did it say oats?
It's not.
Are
oats.
you reading
It's
it like
oats.
you're some kind of old 40s singer? Like,
Eggs and oats.
come on, Utes. Hey, I need both of you two Utes over here. No, it's the eggs and oats. No,
Eggs and
it's
oats.
eggs and oaths.
Oaths.
Oaths, like an oath.
Can you see that from over there?
Not really. I don't have my glasses on, so yeah, no, I can read it. Eggs and oaths are easily broken.
What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I mean that's true in the sense that if you have the egg in hand, you're potentially cracking that. Sure, that makes sense. Oaths are even more breakable, I think. And here's the
More
problem.
breakable than eggs.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, because they're more precious. And so when we think about the oaths that we've made in our lives, right? The way that we've said, I will do this or I'll do that. It's really just our word that's easily breakable. And so, yeah, an oath is more breakable than an egg. You know, if you think about an egg, I was thinking about this when I was carrying it in the other day from the car. I'm carrying in a carton of 48 or whatever it was. And I thought, this has gotten so far from the chicken or the hen to the manufacturer through the farmer.
Rolled down some kind of conveyor
rolled down a
belt.
belt. It got into this space. It went to this. Now it's at the store. Now we get it, and we walk in the house, and you drop an egg as you're sticking it in the next compartment. Think about that. How much that egg has been through. Now let's talk about our oaths. Our oaths are just something simply that we say, and we go, hey, I make an oath, or I give a promise to make sure that I'll do this. And the next thing we know, boom, we have broken it. Whether it's to the people we love or the things that we've said we'll do in our business, and most often with ourselves. So that's, yeah, I like that quote, actually.
What do we do if we're always going to break it and it's so hard? Gosh, that seems tough. Is life
Honor
hard?
your oaths.
But is life
Honor
hard
that
then?
egg. Honor the egg.
Honor the egg, honor the oath. But yeah, no, life is tough. I mean, that's just the point. Life is tough. We make promises left and right, and we are promise breaking type of people. And if we were not, the world would have way less problems. So that's why I think we're talking about this as the title of today.
Yeah.
The world is
We
full
would
of
have
promise
less
breaking.
problems.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be a need for police. There wouldn't be a need for, marriages falling apart. Wars would never happen. I mean, it's a promise-breaking world we live in. So what kind of promise breaker are you, or are you someone who keeps your promise? Do you make a reasonable promise and keep it? That's what we should talk about.
Yeah, we're gonna. I used to have such a weird issue with promise. When I was a kid, dude, I would never promise ever, no matter what. I would I might do that or whatever, but there was some weird connection I had with the word promise, and I would not promise.
Too strong of a commitment, maybe?
Yeah,
Or-
you know, I was a pretty flighty, colorful human being back in the early days, and I didn't have much responsibility or care, and that promise word. And then I got married to a powerful woman, and then the world changed because she didn't take
Shouldn't
no
take that.
promise for an answer.
yeah. No, yeah. I
She
get
changed
it.
my world. 24 years later, we're still together. It's a beautiful thing.
But you know, Bobby, I think that most people are, men especially, they're uncomfortable with this word. I think that's why it's important that I talk about it. Because I am a manly man. I have a beard.
Right.
I
You haven't
drive a
always
Jeep.
had a beard.
I drive a Jeep. I got boots on. I'm a manly man. I'm talking about promises. Come on. So yeah, we're not used to talking about this word. We've in fact changed it through the years to say, instead of talking about promises which God spoke of in the biblical terms and so forth, that was the first way he spoke to all of us. I make you a promise. If you do this, I'll do that. That's like the beginning of this whole commitment concept. We've whittled it down to goals, to our best attempts to do or do not. There is no try, right? And so now we're in the...
Hey, don't knock Yoda, though. I'm a
I
big
love
fan.
Yoda. But hey, and he was talking about that. He was like, hey, look, just do it. Keep a promise. That's what he was saying.
Yeah.
But in his cool way. So are we setting a goal or are we making a promise? Because, a goal, if you miss it, you just set another one. But we still kind of celebrate like, yeah, I almost got my goal. But if you make a goal or if you make a promise and break it, then you have a problem.
Broken.
Right. It's broken
Oh, this
like an
is-
egg.
This is heavy duty.
It's heavy.
This is deep, dude.
I'm going on a roller coaster ride. Right
Okay, let's get into the interview. Okay.
Right.
We're gonna get serious now.
All right.
Serious. Okay, it's not gonna be that serious. But we're gonna get into this here. Okay, the only problem with when I do the show thing, I'm all over the place. So let's ask you the first question. The question we love to ask folks. The whole point of being on the Biz4Good Show is we believe in the business model of being good and doing good. That if you really want to grow and you want to be better and you want to have people trust to do business with you, you just focus on what good you can do with them. Is there a time that you could tell us when that mattered to you or when that happened or something that in your head that you could tell us about why that matters to you?
Well, I think it comes back to this concept of what are you willing to give and for what reason. And so if you're only willing to give in order to get, then you have an issue because you often will not get something in return. And so if you're willing to give just to give, then that's the best reason. Does that make sense?
If you're willing to give just to give. Yeah, I think that's the epitome of what today is. With all of the social media and everything out there and every marketing plan coming from a business background, you try and figure out the best way to manipulate that group. And if that means I got to go this way and say this way, then I do that. It's not that I care about it. It's not that I mean it or that I believe in it. It's that somebody has told me or I've seen that is the best way to manipulate this section of people. And is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's very well said. And I think that that's where we become these promise-breaking business owners or business people in the sense of how can I manipulate the following or the tribe that I have in order to follow everything that I'll do and I'll say because it'll benefit me. Now, what if we just said to ourselves, I'm going to do good just because I do good? And that was early on for me the way my business started. I had a mentor who was my Yoda, and his name is Chris Polis. And Chris was 70 plus years old when I met him in my early 20s. And he had been retired from showbiz for years already. And he said, here's how you create your show, your message, here's how you get events and get to perform and speak. And we'll do this in front of all these groups. And I remember saying, well, how much am I going to get paid? And he said, well, how much do you really need to live? And I thought, well, I never thought about it that way. Like I thought I was going to be a millionaire and famous. And he said, let's think of the philosophy of that. How much are you willing to live at in order to still do good for the whole world? Does it matter how much you make in order to be giving back the gifts that God already gave you? And I was like, whoa, I like that,
awesome.
And so that became my sort of my mantra for my entire career was to say, how can I give so much that, I can do the good that needs to be done? Eventually it does come back to us if we are willing to do that much good. And so the first many events that I did were all birthday parties and events that, speaking to youth groups and Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts, and then the beauty pageants for the girls, and did everything, the county fairs and birthday parties and weddings and funerals. I remember playing a piano for a funeral. I mean, just wherever I could spread good is what it was about. And so to answer your question, a story about a time I remember doing good and being good. It made a difference to me when I realized that that was my path, that I would be serving. Remember, my dad came to me and he said, I want you to come and perform your show, because I started as an entertainer doing a one-man show of comedy and music and impressions. And he said, I need you to do your show for my friend in Montana. And living in Salt Lake City, Utah, I thought, well, okay, that's 8-hour drive to Montana. My dad wanted me to drive to Montana, do my show for an hour for this guy's 50th birthday party. And then I drove back home. I remember thinking how disappointed I was in myself as I was driving there, feeling sorry for myself at the beginning of my career, thinking, I'm now driving all this way for this guy I don't even know for a birthday party I don't really care about. I didn't know this person, but I went and did his party. I did 100% because that's what I do when I'm on stage. And then I drove back home, and I thought, nothing's going to come of that other than I just did good. That's all I did. And you guys, what happened next was fascinating, because that man then became an advocate for me. His name is Bill, and Bill called me and he said, hey, thanks for doing my birthday party. Did you know what I do for business? I said, no. He said, I'm in the oil industry. Next thing I know, oil industry turns into my first industry where I made my living as a performer. Because he led me to the Western Petroleum event. And the next thing I knew, I was standing in front of the owners of Sinclair Oil Company, the Earl and Carol Holding family that owns Sinclair Oil Company in Utah and has, gone nationwide. Well, they also owned a lot of ranches and hotels. And I became their personal performer that they took everywhere around the country in their G4 or G5, whatever Gulfstream it was. They flew my
That's
wife
a jet,
and I around.
people.
That's a jet. I thought this was corporate. I thought this was a corporate, this is normal. Not normal. Gold seat belts. 2 Air Force One retired pilots putting booties over your shoes so you don't soil the carpet as you walk onto this Gulfstream jet. And they flew us around the country.
This is just how it happened.
This is how it happens. So easy. And then I did gig after gig after gig for this Holdings family. Changed my life. Started my career. All because I did good. Being good. That's how it made a difference to me, was that it launched my career. But it all comes back to the guy who helped me realize, Chris Polis, why are you doing the good? And so if you're just going around doing good, eventually things come back, whether we believe it will or not. But if we go in intentionally thinking, I'm only going to do this in order to get the gig,
doesn't work.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah. And especially nowadays, we know when people are full of crap. We can feel it when somebody's not genuine. You said something great. We talk about Zig Ziglar all the time. People don't realize Zig Ziglar never got paid a dime. Over 3,000 times he performed and never got paid before he started getting paid. Zig Ziglar.
Oh wow. Wow.
So if you think you're becoming this thing and you're gonna get a lot of money really really quickly, sometimes we've got to pay the dues and do what it takes.
I did not know that about Zig Ziglar, but as long as we're going about doing good, we're in a world right now of these wolves in sheep clothing, and it's getting worse on social media. They're thumping their chest, they're pushing you into a fire or drowning you in the water. There are better ways to commit to something, in my opinion. It's fine if that's what you need. You can go be a Navy SEAL. That's great. And I admire the heck out of anyone that's willing to go that far. But be careful of the quote unquote guru who has a disaster in their real life, but is forcing you to go in a direction that they have no idea how to truly live a great life by just being good and doing good. They're actually just trying to get your money. They're just trying to rip your soul open because they already see the vulnerability that's happening. And so how do we choose those people that are the true promise makers that actually keep their promise to us?
How do we?
Where are they?
Yeah. Do you have some insight? Because I'm 100%. You go on any social media and you scroll down any of it, and the ads and stuff, it's so
Annoying.
Blatantly grabbing at the heartstrings of folks that just don't have, they don't know what they want, or they know that they want something different, and they play on that. How do we know when somebody's real? I mean, I think no, but what's your Jason's take?
My take is I know these people, and I've studied their lives, and at times I go, why are they teaching that? Is that even an option? You know, it's not to say that someone needs to be perfect. No way. And some of these guys will, strip away everything and say, I'm not perfect, but still come and do this and be crazy and spend all this money that actually results in nothing except for less money. And so
I know many people that have paid $20,000 to do some thingy and never got any kind of ROI at all from that $20,000 promise.
That's right. And so the question comes down to, what are you willing to do in order to get to the root cause? Because all they're doing is a Band-Aid. I mean, as cliche as that sounds. And I've been chewing on my message of the promise for a couple of years now and trying to figure out, is it self-help? Is it just improvement? Or is it actually not improvement? It's rather consistency. Maybe that's it. Maybe we come to a level of neutrality where we discover in ourselves, this is as good as I will be. Can I deliver that for myself every single day?
Wow.
As opposed to this, there's this guy named Sven Brinkmann. He's a philosopher in Denmark. Brilliant dude. And he's questioning that. He's saying, this is where I started thinking about it recently. I thought, self-help, is it really improving us? Or are we still cycling through this mud? And
there's nothing really new.
There's nothing new.
The secret's not a secret, man.
No.
James Allen was talking about it in 1890 with As a Man Thinketh. And Wallace Waddle was talking about it in 1910. I mean, this stuff is not new stuff. It's just regurgitated.
And we're not saying it's bad to study it or consider it or read it, but here's what's bad. When all you do is read it and then feel bad about yourself, that's a really bad thing, because then you read it and you go, I should be doing a million things. I have no action. I hate myself.
Yeah.
Now self-help becomes self-destruction.
Yep.
So how do we create it so that we say, how can I consistently keep a promise to myself on a daily basis in different aspects of my life? It's not to say that you're not improving. It's to say that you've consistently done something the way that you should every single day.
It comes down to what we hear over and over again, and I talk about it all the time. It's one word, 2 letters. Do.
Oh, I was going to say something else.
Do. D-O. You've got to take action.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how much you study, how much you think, unless you take some kind of an action and you continue to take that action, your life isn't going to change.
Never going to change. So right. What were you going to say, Ryan? You look like you're ready to go, man.
Yeah.
Very studious over here. I'm taking notes. I am making notes mentally. I haven't been saying in my household lately, progression, not perfection. That's kind of been my mantra. Because seems like you try to be just you never live up to that. But if you can go progress, today I did a little bit better than yesterday. Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
A little bit better than yesterday.
Right.
But each person might say, one person might say, well, that's a cop-out for, like they might say, that's a cop-out for living a mediocre existence. Right. Okay, well, whatever your definition is of it. But my question is, how can you consistently commit to something? That's it.
Oh, I love it.
Just commit to that one thing. Even if it's like, tonight I'm not going to binge watch Netflix. That's my commitment today. So that I can then what? It'll trickle down into wake up earlier. And I'll probably sleep better. And I'll probably have a better relationship with my family. And I'll remember that one promise that I made, that I would read my scriptures or have my devotional in the morning first, rather than jumping right to my email inbox and my social media. And so how do we continue that commitment, progression?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it helps, or at least for me, I know when I make commitments, and I call them being accountable, it's absolutely very, very similar. I like to have accountability partners that I tell them this is what I'm doing. So when I tell it to other people, it seems like that holds me even more accountable, because now it's just not in my brain, and I can go, oh, well, I'll do it tomorrow or whatever. But when there's other people, I know when I tell my wife I'm an accountability person, I get to know when I'm not being accountable.
Yeah, of course.
And it's a beautiful thing to have other people assisting with your promise. Totally. I don't know if that's a thing, but I love it. I shout it from the rooftops. This is my commitment. This is what I'm doing, because I'm a little more motivated to do it when other people know now that I've made that commitment.
Well, yeah, and having accountability partners, a mastermind, you name it, even telling your coworkers what your plan is, so that they can be like, hey, remember you said that? A lot of the time, a promise that we make is something we've forgotten, and that's what Nietzsche said. And when he's a controversial philosopher, but the point is that he said, we forget the promises and the commitments we have made. And so if we're even just able to remember them alone, that gets us further along than the person who makes the promise and forgets it. And so if I'm saying to myself with my accountability partner, hey, I promised to do that, they can remind us, that's wonderful. The other level I feel is the commitment to self. And so what is your promise to yourself? And that's just writing it down in a journal, perhaps.
I was going to ask if that was a thing.
Yeah, the promise journal is what it's about, in my opinion. And my friend Dr. Benjamin Hardy talks about how willpower does not work. We have got to come back to this place of journaling and looking and making sure that we remember over and over again. And so that's what I've been doing, and it's made a huge difference.
So it's not just a journal. You actually write down your promises.
Oh, totally. And I look at them. They're right in the front of my journal.
And it's not like a goal either. This isn't because you've already...
Well, no, a goal has a deadline. I mean, if I say, here's my goal, I'm gonna try to hit that goal. A goal is an attempt. A goal is something we're shooting for that has an end zone, if you will, right? Like in a sport. But a promise is like an eternal goal. It's a sacred goal. It's an unbreakable goal. A promise is the highest level of commitment that we commit to, right? And so we can't break our promise, or else we actually shatter the egg, if we go back to that quote, right?
Yeah.
So
it feels like, and every time you say the word promise, it almost feels like a holy thing to you. I mean, every time you say it, I feel in your energy and everything that it's like this holy,
sacred,
connected, sacred thing for you. Is that true? Because it sure feels that way every time you say it.
Totally true. And I preach this as if I'm a messenger from another place, rather than just a speaker speaking about something that I think is cool. This comes from a very sacred place of being a person that says, how many promises have I broken? And how much better could the lives around me have been had I been that person that made and kept a promise every time? I know I've failed a lot more than I've made it happen. And so I think that's why I'm a messenger of it. I feel very much Saul to Paul with this message.
Wow. Well, you're living it. We can feel that from you already. Are you going to ask him a question, Ryan? I mean, we've been
I'm
waiting.
just soaking this in. Soaking it in.
He's waiting to use that sound effect thing. He's like, "When is it going to be funny?"
Yeah,
I thought this was going to be funny.
we got this one.
Oh, man. The cat, I never understood that sound effect. It just says cat. Is that what you think of when you click on a cat?
Oh, totally. I remember the Calico Cat. That was my first performance I ever made my dad laugh. I think it was in 7th grade. And we were at the school I was at. They did the Calico Cat, which I don't remember the whole way it went, but when the recitation of our poem was going as a class, I was reserved to do the cat, and they thought that I was just going to go, and then the Calico Cat said, and I went, meow, right? They thought I was going to say meow. I prepared much further for this. I was gonna throw caution to the wind, and so when it came my turn, they said, and the Calico Cat says, and I went, and my dad fell out the door laughing. I'll never forget it. That was my first. I killed my dad laughing. That was a big deal for me.
We need to record that. Yeah. Oh, we did.
Yeah, we did. We need to record that. Oh, wait a minute.
We have 9 cameras and 70 microphones. We need to get that on film. You guys.
Ooh.
I just randomly picked a cat. I don't know. Oh. That's awesome.
You don't know what would go into the Calico Cat story.
There are no accidents. That's beautiful. We needed to hear that story. That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh, I don't even know if this is a question right now because we've been so good. Like
we've been off in our own little world. See, listeners know that we kind of have a format, but we somewhat follow it.
We'll stick to it. What is your commitment to a Biz for Good life? I'm pretty sure you got this.
You can answer it if you want to, but I mean, we kind of figure you probably anyway.
You probably have this.
It's been going all right. No, here's the thing. I make a living doing something that most people think is very simple. I make a living as a speaker.
Everybody can do that.
Anybody can. I can talk. Okay, well, good. So I make a living for the last, 18, 19 years on stage. And I was told from the very beginning, you must charge this certain amount to have it be worth, what it will be. And so I have been very fortunate to make a good living at it. That's been wonderful. But what most people don't realize is that where some speaker coaches or trainers or even the industry will suggest never do anything for free. It either has to be your full fee or nothing. I have a different philosophy, and this is my commitment to Biz for Good life. Every gig that I get, every event I speak at, when I'm paid my full fee or a partial fee, I will always do a free event opposite the one paid. And so I do one-to-one my entire career.
Really?
So if I do 50 events that are paid this year, I will do 50 free ones. Now, will people that listen to this take advantage of this?
Unfortunately.
I don't know. Maybe they will. It's okay. I need to share this with your audience because even my peers had no idea I was doing this. Because I have peers that are doing very well and they're like, oh man, I only donate 1 gig a year. And I'd say, well, good for you. That's a good thing to do. At least you did one, right? My thought is God sends me all of the work. He's given me the gifts anyway. So my promise is to make sure to give back to the people that could never afford it. But I just now have to choose who I'm going to give that to. So if it's just anybody coming along asking, I can't justify every single request. So I have my different organizations I devote to. Boy Scouts of America, the church I belong to, the women's groups that are in need. I have the U.S. military. Like they asked me, hey, will you come to Afghanistan and perform for us? I said, I would love to. 2014, that was the middle of the war. Wow. I went there for 3 weeks with some other peers, changed my life. But it was 3 weeks of freebies. And so that's a wonderful blessing. It blessed me way more than it did those people that were there. And so my commitment to Biz for Good Life is every time I get paid, someone else will be blessed because I'll be performing or speaking at that event that never could have afforded it. And so that's my commitment to it.
Wow. Bam.
Dropped.
We don't want to drop these mics, but we'll find another
They're pretty
mic.
sturdy. They're pretty
I
sturdy.
can't drop this. I can't drop this. I can't drop.
Oh, don't tap the table.
Don't smack the
It's
table.
right there. Kit Kat drop.
I love it. Jason, thank you so much for being with us. This has been so cool. We got a few more questions. It's just thank you. Thank you. I just want to say thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And ask you a question.
Do it.
What kind of gold nugget could you give our listeners, or a call to action, something that you feel the listeners could use to take away from this interview?
I would say the most important thing you need to do is identify what your goals are versus your promises. So I do talk about it and say, why set a goal when we can make a promise? But I'd like you to consider identifying your promises today. So what are those for you? Because let's say I have the goal to the goal to be a better dad. Let's just say. Okay. So what does that goal look like? I am more present with my kids. I'm interested in helping them with their homework. I show up. I mean, what are the different goals that you set? Because you still need to set goals, because goals are particulars, but promises are your proclamations. And so consider what your proclamation promise would be as a better dad. In this case, I would say, I set the goals to, when my kids come into the room, I'm going to set a goal that I'm going to put my phone down rather than, not be present. And so how can I go from just a goal of being a better dad to making the promise that I'll be the kind of dad that any kid would want to have? That becomes my proclamation. And so identifying between your goals and your promises, and then identify exactly what those could be, clarify it with somebody that means a lot to you, and then magnify it. So the process is identify, clarify, magnify. If your listeners will consider the identify, clarify, magnify of what their promise is, then identifying it for themselves, clarifying it with the person that's going to affect, and then magnifying it is keeping your promise. That's a golden nugget or tip I would give your listeners.
Awesome.
That's a good nugget.
It's a good nugget.
Because when my kids are like, Daddy, do the dinosaur. I mean, I could be like, well, I'll give him what I got because I'm tired. So I'm like, I could pretend, or I can go all in. It's my choice. This is my promise. My promise is to be the kind of dad that any kid would want to have. So now if the kids say do the raptor, I'm like, I'm all in. I'm 100%. That's my promise to my kids. So I'm like, and then I'm running around like, chasing them around. And they're like, no, Daddy. I'm like, and it's fun to, I'm going for it. Now I'm the kind of dad that any kid would want to have, right? That's my promise proclamation. I'm not just like, I set a goal to be funny today with my kids. You don't have enough energy to do that. You need to make an unbreakable promise to yourself that when they request it, you go for it, 100%.
Oh, man. I love it. Wow. I'm like, not always do I like not have words and stuff.
Bobby? Not have
This
words?
is so cool. I'm just in awe. It's just cool. It's just good stuff.
That's good stuff.
I would say, that the question we had is kind of like, let's talk about the promise thing, but we kind of been talking about the promise thing a little bit. Is there, the title of the show is, how many
What type
promises
of promise?
have you broken?
Yeah.
And why, my first thought is, gosh, that depresses me. Like,
oh crap!
geez,
I broke a promise.
If I can think, I love my family. I love my wife so much, and it just seems like I screw up all the time. And I'm just like, not again. Why did I come home late and I didn't text and say I was coming home late, and why it would have take 2 seconds to have showed that I gave in a crap, and so it's depressing. So I'm how do I get undepressed about that?
Don't be depressed. First of all,
Ta-da!
there's your magical motivation for today. Zig Ziglar didn't get paid 3,000 times to come up with that one. Here's the thing. We're going to break promises all the time. People that mean a lot to us, to ourselves the most, though. And so the question comes down to how can we not be depressed about that? I would just say set little promises for yourself that are totally accomplishable. Meaning, what's my promise to be focused for the next 10 minutes? Even there. Can I focus for 10 minutes and not check my phone? Or can I go to lunch with 2 friends and not have my phone sitting on the table and not check it? Like, these kind of things seem so basic, but really that starts to change your ability to be present with the people that you're around. And so a promise is being present. A promise is giving 100%. A promise is just being fully where you are. So, like, if you have a problem with texting and driving, that's a real thing. I mean, all you have to do is be at a stoplight and look around. Those people,
but technically they're not driving if they're at a stoplight.
They're not driving, yeah. And hey, we all do this, right? And so, you know what? The next time you think about it, you go, I made a promise to myself that I wouldn't do this. But I'm also making a promise to humanity that I won't kill everyone around me. I mean, really, it's
absolutely.
a big deal. So can I make the promise to set the phone down on the passenger seat and just drive? Can I not just be fully present in that moment? And guess what? You're going to mess up, and you're going to remember what we talked about here and just set the phone back down. Make a new promise. Say, I will not do that while I drive.
Isn't that kind of the key, I guess, is that you continue to put it in your face.
That's right.
So you can remember. Because that's the key. That's why you do the journaling. That's why we talk to other people about my promises or our promises or your promises, because it keeps us top of mind.
That's right.
And I think that about personal development. Isn't personal development, we know most of that. I mean, innately we know, talk positive and positive things happen or whatever. But when it's put in our face, we recognize it and realize it, and then are able to use it more.
That's right. And just consistently do what we know we ought to do. And I talk about not only the promises that we make, but also the importance of discovering our signature moves. And I think that everyone has
signature moves.
Yeah, everyone has the signature move. I mean, that's the reason we like the artists and the music that we like. If not, we wouldn't listen to different artists. We would just listen to the same, I like Bob Dylan. Well, hey, everybody, I'm Bob Dylan. And what if he sounded like everybody? That would be sad, But you like to listen to the different sounds of the different voices. You've got Bob Dylan, hey, everybody. And then you got the Bee Gees. Well, you can tell by the way I sing this song. I'm a woman's man, but not for long. and then you got Axl Rose. Wow, 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 sweet child of mine. And then you got Louis Armstrong. God, see skies are blue, clouds are white.
How about Ozzy Osbourne?
I should do that one.
Oh my gosh.
No,
I want to hear Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah,
Riding off the rails on a crazy train.
So here's the thing: everyone has their signature voice, right?
Yeah, they do. So true.
How
Taylor
are
Swift, do that one.
Oh yeah. She's amazing.
Yeah.
So here's what I want you to think about. What is your signature move? What is your signature voice? If you were in concert, what would be your hit song? And everyone wants to see that from you. Everyone wants to receive it. If you don't do it, you've broken a promise to your audience. And so when I talk about my signature moves, I show faces, and the listeners won't see this, but hopefully the people viewing will see it. I found out when I was little that I could move my face in a certain way. I could control the upper lip and then the bottom lip and then my eyebrows. I could do all these things at the same time. And now the question is, do I hide it or do I share it? How many people said that was attractive? None. But does it make you laugh? Yes. So do I share it? Yes. That's my promise. So if you're thinking to yourself, I'm breaking promises all the time, I say to you, hey, figure out that which makes you unique and make sure to do it every single day. Just like you've created this podcast. Just like you guys are doing something that most people think it would be cool to do a podcast. I have a voice. I have thoughts. I could invite guests. Well, you guys are already delivering on your promise just by doing what we're doing right now. And so how are we making sure to continually share our gifts, our strengths, our talents, our signature moves? That's your promise. You're already living it. Your listeners and your viewers are already doing it. And so just continue to do it. Continue consistency, commitment.
Continued action.
It's not that bad. It's not bad.
No.
Not that bad.
In high school, I was known for putting my fist in my mouth.
What?
Yeah, and the girls weren't turned on by it, though. It's kind of funny. I don't know if you found that, but yeah, the ladies thought, oh, yeah, that is really funny. Yeah, I don't want to have anything to do with you, but it's really cool.
I can totally relate. But that, you know what? I used to do the same kind of stuff, and they would go, that is so weird. But at the same time, what makes me weird makes me unique. Makes me the leader I am. Makes me extraordinary.
Absolutely. That's in this world. All we have is who we are, and being real to other people is the only way to get above the noise.
That's right. That's right.
And it isn't about what somebody else tells you need to do. It's about you finding out in your heart what makes you the most amazing you-ness in the universe that you are.
There you go.
And thank you for living that.
Eunice.
Breathing that. Eunice.
It's better than unique.
Eunice, though, isn't that a lady in the South? Yo, Eunice! Eunice, get over here! I won't wait on this table. I need some more coffee, Eunice.
The problem is most people think they have to find it in themselves, and often we don't see it. We can't tell. We can't see what we've got. We just think, well, everyone else has stuff, and I don't have anything. And so that's where the identify, clarify, magnify comes in. Clarify it with others. Hey, what is it that makes me unique? What do you think is my signature? It's what they talk about when you leave the room. You know, are you the person that leaves light or that creates darkness? I mean, you know, is the light you shine the light that you receive? And so think about it. What are you delivering? Wow. What are you sharing to the world?
Absolutely.
It's your signature moves.
I love it.
Well, throw down some moves.
Oh, this has been so cool, and I feel like we could totally. You guys are moving. That's so good. You're rocking it out. I love it. We could. I just feel like you're just amazing, and we could just hang out with you all night. And but we do have to wrap it up eventually. I could just hang out and oh, man.
We could just do sounds all night. I'm a goat. Why are we doing this for the whole show?
Alvin!
Oh boy! Hi everybody! Yours, Mickey. Yeah, we should have been doing that.
Yeah, where was that whole time?
What are you talking about? That was awesome. I love it. We got deep, we got shallow, we got all in between. I think it was great,
It's
man.
like a sandwich.
It was a sandwich.
It was like a delicious sandwich.
Yeah, absolutely. So cool. Can tell us how can folks get a hold of Jason? How can they find you? I mean, all you gotta do is put Jason Hewlett in YouTube, and you'll laugh me and my wife laughed for like 2 hours one time. Just
thank you.
Sitting there having fun with you.
Well, I do have a YouTube channel. It has many views from my mother And so if you'd like to...
My mom's my biggest fan, too.
Yeah, if you'd like to click on those videos and watch them with your family, you can. They're G-rated. They're family-friendly, and they're very fun. No F-bombs. And then I would say the place I like to connect with people the most lately is LinkedIn. And so that's how you and I talked, was on LinkedIn, and I'm very active there. Facebook, the other places, I've kind of trailed off a bit because I like the LinkedIn platform the most. But I do have JasonHewlett.com. Hewlett spelled
Jason
like
Hewlett.
Hewlett-Packard.
.com.
Yeah, .com, not .net. And so, here's the thing. If they wanted to take their phones and text the number 22828, they just text, they type in JHE, like Jason Hewlett Entertainment, JHE 22828. Then they'll get, messages in their inbox about the promise. And it just reminds them as to how they can keep the promise in their lives. There's funny videos, a download of my full act. You can get my ebook of signature moves. There's all kinds of things. And then my book, The Promise to the One, is coming out early 2020. And then there will be others, The Promise to the Family, The Promise to the Audience, your clients, your customers, those types of things. So, yeah, we're rolling this out, man. All full steam ahead.
We were going to wrap this up, but this made me think of something, and I just have to ask. One of my favorite Facebook posts of yours, of course, is the big one that went, where you were looking at your wife in the store.
Yeah,
it's such a powerful. I mean, I read. Was that like a year ago or?
That was 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
That went crazy viral. It was led by some clickbait, apparently, that I didn't realize I had crafted so perfectly. But the opening line was, "I'm embarrassed to admit, but I think I cheated on my wife today." With my wife. And the world went nuts over this post because I'm just looking at, I saw my wife at Target. I didn't know she was there. We went independent of each other to the store. I saw a beautiful blonde and went, whoa, and then I realized it was her. That split second thinking someone's attractive and then be like, oh, that's my wife. Holy cow. And so instead of jumping up on the counter and being like, I'm here, I just watched her and I just went, wow, what a great woman, and all the post resolves to is this whole concept of a man looking at his wife with new eyes. And so I said, it's important to look at those that we love in our lives with fresh eyes to realize the light they are in our lives. And the world goes bonkers over this because it was the first time apparently that there had been anything kind of exposing vulnerability of a man saying, I cheated on my wife, but it resolved into cheating with his own wife in the sense of you have to see the gratitude that you have for the person that you wake up next to every day.
I love that.
Yeah.
I loved it. If you haven't seen it, it's out there all over still.
It's on the Facebook Jason Hewlett, the Entertainer page.
Very good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Ryan, what do you think?
It's been awesome. Thank you so much, Jason.
My pleasure. You guys are awesome. Thanks for letting me be on. What a
Thanks
cool
for coming to
podcast.
the studio.
Yeah,
too.
thanks for coming to the studio.
We have so much more fun in studio than doing remote stuff.
I think I've done one other podcast in studio, and I do around 5 to 6 a week podcast call-ins.
Mm-hmm.
I never come in, so this is so cool.
So cool.
Well,
Yeah,
we're definitely privileged then. Thank you.
I'll take a selfie here.
Oh yeah, we'll take some
a
selfies.
selfie
And we
get on
need
the
you
wall.
we need you to sign the wall.
I'll sign under the Mark Eaton.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect.
Right.
That'd be sweet.
Love that guy.
All right,
You'll probably need a chair, but you're pretty tall. You might be able to do it.
I'll need a chair to top his. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't need a
He
chair.
didn't need a chair. He needed to duck down.
Yeah, he just looked at me funny when I asked him if he wanted a chair.
Right.
You're gonna make goofy faces within selfies. Mark wouldn't. He
Oh,
wouldn't
yeah,
make, he
that's
wouldn't make a goofy face with us.
He blocked that.
Yeah, that's
right.
so funny. He's like, no, we're not going to do that. I'm like, yes, sir. You could squash me with your hand. So we'll. But he tried to take the selfie stick from me, and I said, no, I got this.
Oh, yeah? Oh, he's trying to hold it way out.
Exactly. I'm like, no, man, it's the only job I got, man. Come on. I can get you in there. I promise.
That's funny.
All right, Ryan, you going to take us out?
Yeah.
Explain how we do this.
We always end the show with 3 hashtags. We get louder and Crayley on the last one. So
You'll see.
We'll say hashtag be good, do good.
Oh,
And then we'll do it 3 times.
Okay, yeah, that's what we're gonna say 3 times,
Get
and we get
crazy
louder
loud.
and louder.
Be good, do good.
Hashtag be good, do good.
3 times.
Hashtag be good, do good. Hashtag be, but louder.
Okay. Here we go.
Here we go. Hashtag be good, do
do
good.
good.
Hashtag be good, do good.
Hashtag be good, do good.
100%.
I knew that was gonna end better.
That's a wrap.